Oh, it's lit. We prime time. Subscribe, like, and share. Give us your feedback. Yo, I'm Manny at the plate and Kobe off a steal. Gretzky for the goal and Brady at the wheel. I'm a game changer, the Osaka of the tennis. And breaking scoreboard, Simone of the Olympics. Defense and big business, the Mayweather who way better. From the greatness of Jim Brown, I've been down. Talking sports before I was off the porch. Screaming Bo knows while Jordan was playing horse. Late 80s getting torched by the drive and the shot. 2016 got a ring off the 3 in the block. They eased to forgot the cardiac kids. Price and Doherty, Bell in the Indian years. This who it is. Your host DeeTrynt, yo, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. Yo, your host DeeTrynt, that's a name banger. Come in the streets and talk sports with the game changer. You know what I ain't learned on this spaces though? I ain't learned how to dang on put stuff up on a jumbotron, as we say. Yeah, I don't know. We about to find out though. Alright, DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz, Sports, you feel me? Streaming on multiple social platforms. You know what I'm saying? Right now we running it via Twitter Spaces. So whatever social platform you on, if you want to got Twitter, you want to come over to the Twitter Spaces, man. Follow me at DeeTrynt. Is it D_? Yeah, DeeTrynt. D_Trent. You know what I'm saying? Follow InDaStreetzSportz. You know what I'm saying? And you can follow us on all social platforms under that name. But yesterday. Now let me start off by saying this, man. Usually, all right, when it comes to the NBA draft, it's kind of like a Super Bowl in a sense for Cleveland. All right, we usually trying to figure out who's going to help turn the franchise. The front office going to fumble the pick and do all that craziness, but right now, man, we seem to have a front office and coaching staff that really is building something special, or what could be special here in Cleveland. And I think last night's draft and the Cleveland Cavs selections just supported that in a lot of different ways. So now, how the NBA draft played out is so crazy because if you catch one of my old episodes, I picked the first 5 picks going exactly this way. Paulo at 1, Chet at 2, Jabari at 3, Keegan at 4, Jaden at 5. And I said that because I felt like those players fit those teams and those leagues. All right, now with Orlando, Orlando got a little squad over there of young players. You know what I'm saying? You got your bars in Cole Anthony and RJ Hampton. You added Jalen Suggs. You know, you got Franz Wagner and Isaac, and Jonathan Isaac and Terrence Ross. You know what I'm saying? You got your bigs down there, Franz Wagner and Mo Wagner, his brother, Wendell Carter. But they didn't have a number 1 score. And I felt like, having the number 1 pick, you got to get somebody that brings a relatable, translatable skill, impactful skill right now. And to me, Paulo was, I guess, the quote-unquote LeBron of the draft. I think this is a deep draft. I think a lot of these players could have long-term careers, in my opinion. But Paulo just fit what Orlando has. I expect him to start playing the 4 in the paint with Wendell Carter, with Franz at the 3, Jalen at the 2, and Cole at the 1. We're going to see what they do in free agency, though. They look attractive now. They may attract a veteran guard. Who knows? They could trade John Wall and put him down there. I mean, you never know. But I like that pick for them. Chet Holmgren went 2 to OKC. I thought was fire. OKC, like we lit the first round up. We don't get to that stage in a second. But I felt like Chet fits the mentality and demeanor of the other players we saw here. With Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey, Luke Dort, even Trey Mann, Darius Bates, I think his name is. These guys, they fit Chet. He gonna go into his body. You remind me a lot of Evan, how they talk about Evan. But I think he got a lot of game, and he got superstar potential game, and he got the attitude for it. So, I like him in OKC. He ain't got no pressure for them to be winning right now, so he can grow his game and go into his body, and they gonna be a force. 3 was Jabari Smith to the Rockets, which I felt like was a great fit. Them because he can play the 4 and then they can start Sagon. And I think and I always mess up his name. Aspirin, Sagon, however you say that. I just feel like he a starter in this league. So you put him at the 5, you put Jabari Smith at the 4. You run Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., or you run Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, and find somebody to play the 3. Whatever the case, though, those 4 guys, I mean, they got Josh Christopher down there. They probably gonna make a move on John Wall and Eric Gordon. So I like what they got. Now, the most interesting part of this first round, especially this lottery, was the Sacramento Kings. And people wanted to know what Sacramento was going to do, what they should do, whatever their mentality is, however that's going to go. And I thought Sacramento needed to draft a player at 4, unless they got a ridiculous offer. And I felt like they needed to draft Keegan Murray. Because they say Keegan Murray is a 4. I think he's a 3. But him in between Fox and DeMontis Sabonis, I felt like this is a nice young core to be rocking. And you still got, Harrison Barnes that you could probably play 2 through 5. I mean 2 through 4. Or if you want to play Keegan at the 4, you can do quite a few things. They still got Dante DiVincenzo. So I think they have a lot more talented team than they've been given credit for. But I think putting Keegan Murray in between Fox and Sabonis was wrong. So now you get the 6 with Indiana, and they take Benedict Mathurin. And when they took this pick, what I thought was, he probably looked real good next to Tyrese Halliburton. 2 lengthy guys who are run the floor, can play some defense. One can facilitate, one can score. They still got Miles Turner. Whatever they're going to do with Malcolm Brogdon. You got Chris Duarte down there. They got Jalen Smith, who I like down there too. Dwayne Washington Jr. coming off that bench. They got a few guys. So I like that pick for them as well. Portland was interesting. Because I guess Portland didn't really want to keep that pick, but they ended up taking Shaedon Sharpe. Now Shaedon Sharpe, to me, from what I've seen on his tape, remind me a lot of Tracy McGrady. And so with that being said, in the next 3-4 seasons, we gonna see what that shape into. But you put him over there. You got Anthony Simons, so you play them on the wing. They just acquired Jeremy Grant. I think they're in more of a position to trade for DeAndre Ayton than Detroit is, even though Detroit got cap space. Portland got cap space too. But I think them offering the package like Nurkic and Nasir Little, and Josh Hart with a pick or something, just sound way more attractive than whatever Detroit can do. Especially with Detroit, not only get Jaden Ivey, but using the pick and turning that into Jalen Durant too. Dyson Daniels 7 or 8 to the New Orleans Pelicans, which was probably the most ideal fit outside of Jaden to Detroit. Because Dyson Daniels gonna be a dog, bro. I just really think he could possibly end up one of the top 2 players in this draft with the best career when it's all said and done. Especially put him over there with CJ McCullough and Brandon Ingram and Zion come back, Valanciunas, and they're gonna come off the bench with Herb Jones and Dante Graham. I just really think that was a fire. That was raw. I wanted that game too for the Cavs, but it ain't really shake out like that. At 9, now mind you, I was running a stream last night before things got crazy going over. And as the picks was coming in, I was calling them out. And when the Spurs came up, and people kept saying Jalen Durant, I'm like, man, Jeremy Sochan probably gonna go right here because he fit the forward mode that they would need. All around guys that's gonna play on the break, good defense, play on the break. You can stretch it a little bit. Got cold post moves. You know what I'm saying? Got nice length, nice length, nice height, nice athletic ability. And I just felt like, he would go there, so he did. Washington picked at 10. They got Johnny Davis, like kind of people expected. I don't know what's going on in Washington. I'm not going to even try to speculate at what the hell they doing over there. But we'll find out when free agency starting. Bradley Beal go public, whatever he going to do. We really going to find out where they at. They got Porzingis over there, though. They still got Hachimura, Adija, Kyle Kuzma, KCP. They got some little, so we're going to see, man. We're going to see what it turns to. 11, 12, and 13 is where the draft got really interesting. Because this is where the OKC kind of took off the narrative a little bit that they was just tanking just to be taken. So New York goes up to pick, and they pick Ousmane Dieng. Now, if you was like me, when that pick came in, you said, why is New York picking Ousmane Dieng? Like, what did we not know that they knew? And then not but a couple minutes later, you heard Wolf come on and say, hey, this pick is going to OKC for multiple first-round picks. So it wasn't that he was going to OKC that caught my attention. It was the 3 first-round picks that was attached that caught my attention. And I'm like, well, dang, I wasn't that high on Ousmane myself, but I mean, OKC got a pretty good scouting department, if I say so myself. So if they offering 3 first rounds for this guy, he must bring something really good to the table. And leading up to the actual draft day, he was gaining a lot of steam that last week or two. So he went there. OKC still had their pick at 12, and they took Jalen Williams. Oh man, not Jalen Williams with a Y, not 7, but Jalen Williams with an L from Santa Clara. And a lot of us Cavs fans have been voting him, have been talking about getting him, and really seeing how he would fit with this team. But I can't be shocked that OKC snuck in there and got him. You know what I'm saying? And, so for them to walk out the lottery with Chet Holmgren, Ousmane Dieng, and Jalen Williams from Santa Clara, man, that was crazy, bro. I'm like, they really willing to deal with it. At that point, I'm thinking like, bro, it's about to be some hella trades going on tonight, okay? So, I guess initially, I'm trying to figure out how this works. Somehow, some way, the 13th pick turned into a 3-team deal that included Charlotte drafting Jalen Durant and sending him to Detroit for a protected first-round pick. But Kemba somehow left New York and ended up in Detroit along in that deal. I don't know how they worked that.
What up, man?
IGB guys, same old, man. Them number 7 guys, they doing some tricks with that. But I don't know how they work. But Jalen Durant ended up with Detroit along with Jaden Ivey was probably that was incredible, man. Because I'm looking at Detroit team, and I'm looking at Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey with Marvin Bagley, and then you add Jalen Durant. You still got Killian Hayes and Isaiah Stewart essentially coming off the bench. Bro, that's crazy on the young squad. Like that, and that just as a Cavs fan, that just made our division just so much more crazier with the young talent. Because I mean, Milwaukee right now is the cream of the crop. With the Giannis, Middleton, and Drew Holiday thing. They only a season removed, 2 seasons, a full season removed from being a champion for real, or not even that. He just got dethroned. So. But then you still got Indiana who coming, you got Detroit who coming, then it's us, and then it's who am I missing? And then Chicago. In Chicago, you gonna see what they gonna do. I mean, it seemed like Zach LaVine going back. They got DeMar DeRozan. You get Alonzo Ball coming back. It's really gonna get crazy if they use Vucevic in a deal or however they do it, and they get Rudy Gobert. We really gonna have problems in this division. All right. But then you get the Cavs at 14. All right. And I know I went through that long little soliloquy, but this is what we really came for. All right. We came for these Browns. I'm sorry, for these Cavs. Football, you die hard as a football fan. We came for these Cavs, though. The 14th pick. Now, when we get here, all right, essentially is Malachi Branham still on the board, Ochai Agbaji still on the board, Tari Eason still on the board, EJ Liddell still on the board, AJ Griffin still on the board. Who else? Marjon Beauchamp still on the board, Jaden Hardy still on the board. So the Cavs got, excuse my bad grammar, a plethora of options that they can go through, and they draft Ochai Agbaji. All right. So when I seen the pick, I just smiled ear to ear. You know what I'm saying? This to me was perfect. I feel like, as a Cavs fan, I've been watching the Cavs since like 90, 91. You know what I'm saying? When it was Mark Price and Craig Elo and Steve Kerr. They had just drafted a young John Battle, acquired Hot Rod Williams, and they had Brad Daugherty down there with what's my other guy? Was it Tyrone Hill? No, not Tyrone. No, it wasn't Tyrone. Not Tyrone Hill. What is it? Was Hot Rod, Brad Daugherty, and Larry Nance. Larry Nance. How did I forget Nance? I'm so sorry. And Larry Nance. You know what I'm saying? And so I've been watching this team for a long time, and they always try to do what they feel like is outsmarting everybody else with the draft picks and getting all extra crazy and sexy and whatever the case. And they didn't do that last night. You know what I'm saying? They stayed in their position, they analyzed the board, and they took the best fit for the team. And that's what I felt like Ochai is, because he brings you an athletic 3-and-D guy that you can plug and play in right now. We're not asking him to become the star. We got Mobley, we got Mobley, we got Garland or Sexton for that to be the star. Well, however that's gonna play out. But we need a guy that could complement what they do and help bring out or accentuate more what they do and make it more dominant. So I liked the Agbaji pick like crazy. And listen, I am so looking forward to the summer league right now. So with me saying that, all right, I brought up a few speakers. I got my boy Brian up here. My boy, let me say Harem, my boy, he up here. And let me get y'all feedback and y'all thoughts on that draft and how things going on so far with the Cavs.
Go ahead, Harem.
Hello?
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. What's going on?
What's good with you, homie? How you feeling?
Finding yourself?
I'm good, bro.
Good. The draft, he wouldn't have been my pick. Um, one thing I didn't know about him was the fact that I did not know he had a 16 wingspan. He wouldn't have been my pick, but I'll defer to the Cavs because they know more. In my opinion, the Cavs have enough outside shooting. They need more shot creators to free up the outside shooting. They need somebody who can put the ball on the deck and get to the basket. And this guy, he does not do that. Um, from my standpoint, the outside shooting is fine. The most important thing right now is you got to get Sexton long term. You got to sign that guy long term, man. And you got to get a backup point guard and a backup center. That's it. And the only other question that I would have with this team is JB good enough to be imaginative enough on offense to be a good head coach to bring this team together to a championship style? And for and as I've said many times on Twitter, I've never seen an NBA coach that doesn't know how to use a bench as bad as JB.
That question has come up a lot today. Brian. How you feel about that? I'm gonna let Brian go on that. How you feel about that?
On which part?
On the JB, on the JB, and his utilization of the team as he is right now.
Well, first of all, every young coach that's first time head coach makes his mistakes, right? I mean, this is really a first full-time head coaching position he's had, and they all make mistakes. But in his defense, also, if you think about it, he never really had a chance to settle in on any kind of rotation last year because it was a revolving door with injuries and COVID. So it's hard to get a feel when you have to go so long with, this guy's missing, that guy's missing, this guy's out 2 weeks, this guy's out 3 weeks. They're bringing up G leaguers to play. So it's kind of tough to settle in on a rotation. Now, with the complement of players in the season they came off of last year, I think he'll have a better handle on that this year, coming in with a full training camp. And I also believe that the hiring of Luke Walton to come in and kind of orchestrate the offense is going to help tremendously too. Because JB's calling card has been a defensive guy, okay? And if you look at the Cavs, they finished, 5th defensively last year? The year prior, they were 28th. So that's a massive leap in 1 year with rookies and inexperienced guys. Well, I say rookie because Mobley was your rookie. Everybody else was inexperienced. And that's the other part of the equation. Jared Allen, Darius Garland, even Okoro Marketing, these guys played more minutes than they ever have in their lives. So, that's where the inexperienced part came around. And towards the end of the year, you saw that break down. Because I've said this, a number of times, the body has to match the mind. Well, if the mind doesn't know what it's in for, it can't prepare the body. So eventually that's that wall that we talk about that these guys hit. So now that they got that out of the way, and they gotten healthy over the summer, coming to a training camp with, your full plethora of options to use that. And with the hiring of Luke Walton, I think that'll solve a lot of those rotational issues that you were pointing out.
I'll push back on him on a couple of things, if I may, and no disrespect. First of all, this isn't JB's first job, full-time job. He was a head coach. He was an interim coach a couple of times, in Houston being one, and he was a interim / full-time job in Memphis. But his rotational issues go far beyond last year. I mean, the shuffling in and out, what he did to Dylan Windler when Chetty Osman just fell off the wagon was an embarrassment. I mean, not playing Kevin Love, 5-10 minutes in the play-in game when he's a candidate for 6 man of the year. I mean, I can go on and on and on. You shouldn't have. I mean, look at how Memphis, with all those injuries, they had a system in place at times, and they still won. That's what you needed to do here. And quite frankly, JB just hasn't done a good enough job at that. And that's something that has been going on ever since he's been head coach. It wasn't just last year, and I remember complaining about it even the year before. I understand that they were short of talent. I understand that they had injuries. However, there's no excuse to be shuffling. You don't know what guy's gonna play, and guys need to know if they're gonna play or if they're in a rotation, and they didn't even know that. I mean, it was a lot of different things with JB that most good coaches do not do. But I don't want to, and I understand what he was saying and so forth and so on, but it goes well beyond what he was saying. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, before you go to your other point, I will say to what you were just saying. It's, everybody's learning curve is different. And it's a difference when you're taking over a situation versus you're helping build the situation from scratch. So when we say JB is still a young coach, because he's still a young coach in that aspect, this is the first time he's been able to build a team to his identity, to the way he thinks. All right. And
that's not true. That's not true. That's not true. I just wanted to tell you that's not true. But I'm not interrupting you. I'm just saying that's not true. Go ahead.
I got you. So, and the shuffling matters because it's hard for me to find a role for you and see how the role I got outlined in my mind for you and how it works for this other player. It's hard to see that when one of y'all not available or both of y'all not available. Like, it's hard for me to really see what that is. So it's easy to say, okay, because I didn't see it, let's scratch this and let's do that. But everything builds with continuity and familiarity and consistency. And one thing no Cleveland franchise can afford is to keep reshuffling because you trying to do this and do that. And one thing I ask people are the Cavs contending for a title this year?
No. If you ask me if they can re-sign Sexton and he is back to his old self, absolutely they should be a contender.
For the title or to go deep in the playoffs?
Title.
All right. You got a lot of high hopes. So as a Cleveland fan, I have no problem with you feeling like that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't see them as a this year contender. I see them as a next year because I need to see what that team is like as whole with everybody playing together.
Fair enough.
I expect them, like, you got to crawl before you walk. Y'all got to the play-in. Y'all didn't get actually into a playoff series. So I need to see how you act in a playoff series when you being dissected 7 games. You see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
From that, and then see how that matches up to, okay, get into a championship.
I understand. All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, my man. Go ahead, and then I'll just wrap up after he finishes. I'm sorry.
I was just about to ask you. You had a secondary question. I was just about to say
that. Like I said, I think the whole point about JB. Before I get to I'll just say this about the things that we're talking about with JB. It's like learning how to ride a bike, man. It's English 101. You should know how to do this at this stage as a head coach. I think that's why people get angry and when they're talking about with JB. I mean, welcome to the NBA when you're talking about injuries and this, that, and the other. It's this. I mean, like for instance, he'll say I'm benching Chetty Osman. Okay, we're gonna go. But then he'll give Dylan Windler, if he passes on the shot, he benches him and go back to Chetty. You can't do that. You can't do that. Absolutely not.
I agree with that.
It's things like that he did that you absolutely cannot do as an NBA head coach. It's just, there's no way, because you're confusing the players and you're confusing yourself and you're making a mess out of things. And he continuously did that for a couple of years. But like I said,
so I have a question.
Okay.
Are you ready to move on from him and fire him?
I said this. I said this in DeeTrynt. You know, I said this on Twitter. I said if I could have gotten the guy from Utah, Quinn, who had a similar team, I would have fired JB.
I do remember you saying that.
I would have fired JB. I've seen enough. I mean, I'm not saying that he's a bad coach, and I do appreciate his defense, but the imagination, the stuff that it was things that you ought to know. And what irritated me was how they did Colin Sexton at the beginning of the year was an embarrassment. And I don't think that was JB. I think that was Kobe and all those guys because they were afraid that. Well, they did a lot of different things. First of all, in the offseason, they tried to trade him because he was going to ask for too much money, and they were pivoting towards Garland. Then they wanted to take Fedor said that they were having meetings on whether they wanted to bench him. Then when the game started, they told him he couldn't close games. Then they took the ball out of his hands and tried to limit him, and they benched him. And I mean, they did him dirty, man. They were basically trying to lower his value. You go and look at the stat.
So you're telling me they literally told him all of this stuff?
They told him he cannot close games. They told him that. JB told them. JB told the media, we told him he cannot close games. I mean, what was the reason? What was the reason why he couldn't close games? What? Because he's good at it? I mean, you telling me you would rather lose? You want to lose games in order to make Garland look good? I mean, is it that important? I mean, if Garland is a great player, let him show that he's a great player with another great player. If I'm not mistaken, you ever known that a great player to say, "Oh, I'm coming into a new situation." You gotta put that guy to the side who was also a great player. Great players don't do that.
Well, you'll have to excuse me then because I did not hear or see any of that, so I must have missed it. Where JB literally went to the media and said, "I told Colin he can't close games." That's kind of wrong.
Hey,
yeah,
boy,
and it doesn't really sound like him.
If you got the receipts for that, the video or anything like that you could bring up from the archives, definitely bring it up and post it. You know what I'm saying? That's
it was definitely out there. But I'll just say, if you think I'm wrong, I mean, not that I'm wrong. I know I'm right because I remember hearing it. They not only, and I heard that they even told the media, don't ask questions on why we're doing it. Okay, but if you think people think what I'm saying, because I've had people challenge me on this, go and look at Colin Sexton's numbers. Go and look at his numbers across the board. The first on the West Coast trip. Look how few shots he took. Look at the few minutes he played, and look at his numbers were way down, 30 to 50% way down, because they. All across the board. I mean, and I'll just leave it like that. If they're serious, and I'm going to leave you with this, DeeTrynt and my man. Look, if they're serious about winning a title, I'm just going to leave you with this. Darius Garland has to be the number 3. He's not a number 1 or a number 2. Okay, you got to have a number 2, a wing player that's better than Darius Garland, along with Mobley blossoming into Anthony Davis when you're serious about winning a title. I can't say that I can't explain it. You don't have to be Sexton. If you don't want Sexton, that's fine, because I see Sexton as a 25 to 27 point guy. Okay, that's the way I see it. And if you don't want him, fine, but you got to get somebody as good, if not better than him, and you have to have Mobley blossom into Anthony Davis to put Garland as a number 3. Garland is not what the Cavs think he is. He's an excellent player.
Wait, hold on. First off, I want to thank you for coming up and sharing these thoughts, because
thank you.
Faces, bro. We, you know what I'm saying, we all throw in our ideas and see how this work and get and see how everybody else thinking about it. Now I want to swing this around because I know a few people got a few thoughts on this. So my
thank you. Have a good one.
You know what I'm saying? You too, boy. Stay in and share it. Get your people to
come sir.
In for a second for sure.
Yes.
Changa Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz with DeeTrynt. You know what I'm saying? Talking Cleveland sports, post NBA draft talk. My man Andrew up on the spaces trying to give his put his thoughts in on the situation. So Andrew, go ahead, take the floor.
Yeah, thanks, D. Appreciate you, buddy. Just Just wanted to touch a little bit on that for Colin Sexton. So just from at least from what I could see, Colin Sexton, we taken him a lot off the ball, and he was really kind of struggling just with a new role in this season about playing off the ball, and I think he was starting to adjust. And I know his numbers were down for a little bit, but he was just really trying to find his new his new role in the with our new lineup with Laurie and Mobley and Jared Allen. And I really think he only played 11 games, and he was kind of struggling. And as soon as he was starting to try to hit his stride, he got injured, right? So do you think that his trying to find his role and him not really kind of understanding where he fits in was the big issue in the decrease in his numbers?
I don't. So first off, Andrew, great point. And on this Colin Sexton vibe, it's always an adjustment period when you're doing something new. And that's something that I don't hold against people, because when you're used to doing something a certain way, all right, and then you have to switch it up, you have to be allowed that adjustment period, because it's not just about what everybody else sees. You're the person who's actually in the position. So if you don't see it, it doesn't matter what nobody else sees. All right. And I personally think he was doing well in that role. I think the issue was, and I think people forget this too, Garland and Sexton started a whole lot the previous year together, which was I think that ended, was that the COVID year? They played a lot together. And the problem with that situation was Darius Garland wasn't showing up. Sexton was showing up. Darius Garland wasn't showing up. And, like it was said, once he started to get there, then Sexton got injured. I like them two starting together. I think Colin moving off ball helps his game more than having him on ball. So as much as I'm down with him being the sixth man, I also think, like he said, until you find somebody who can bring in that production or better, man, he kind of got to start at the two, because I know for a fact he gonna give me buckets, and I know for a fact in the backcourt he's going to take pressure off Darius Garland, regardless of what another defense tries to do. And then when you add what you bring with a Mobley, what you can bring with a Jared Allen, what's possibly you can get from whoever you got playing the three, Laurie Marketing, Ochai, Okoro, Levert, however that goes. All right. I just feel like all of that is started because you got young bull down there. And, over the season, we seen that. I mean, how many situations we said, damn, Colin Sexton will really go hard right now.
Well, okay. To the first point about the first 11 games, that whole team was trying to figure things out. It wasn't just Colin. That was a new thing to everybody across the board. Think about it. Jared Allen steps into a full-time starting role. That's number one. Darius Garland steps into a full-time starting role at the point. That's number two. Marketing, a full-time starting role at the three, which he didn't play a lot of, but it was JB and Kobe's vision to go big. That was a learning curve. And then you got the Rook in Mobley, who's never played in the NBA, so he had things to figure out. So everybody across the board was adjusting to everything. From what I saw in that 11-game sample, excited me. Because you got to remember this. Now, we all know that Colin is a legitimate NBA scorer. We know he can score the basketball, no question. But it takes more than one guy. And what the Cavaliers were trying to do last year, which they actually accomplished for a really good long stretch there when that team was on fire, okay, before all the injuries and COVID hit and Rubio went down, that was pretty much the beginning of the end. You had 9 guys in double figures. 9. Now think about that for a minute. What NBA team has 9 guys in double figures? Nobody. So that means you can get scoring from anywhere at any time, and you never know who the main guy is going to be on any particular night. It could be Mobley one night, Allen the next night. It could be Garland the one night. It could be Sexton the other night. That's how you keep teams that are scouting you off balance, because now they got to prepare for everybody. So that aspect is sort of borderline brilliant when you think about it.
I think that was mainly due to the playmaking, right? Just because if you have the reason why that is because the playmaking with Garland and Rubio was so good that they could set up all those guys to get double-digit nights.
And that's where I was going to go next.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Apologies.
To Hiram's point about Darius Garland being a third option, bro, no way. This team goes nowhere without that kid doing what he does from the point guard position the way he did it last year. And what a lot of people forget is he spent time with Popovich and that U.S. Olympic team and all of the better players for those couple of months, and he learned a lot, and he shined. He shined over there. So, yeah, this team goes nowhere. I don't care if Colin goes out and averages 35 points a night. Without Darius Garland, the Cavs go nowhere. So I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Who? Go ahead. Who got something to respond to that? Go ahead and respond.
I would say that I 100% agree. Like, I don't think, like Hiram was speaking, that Colin is a 25 to 27 point scorer. Like, the only reason how he could get more of a ceiling on that is he'd have to up his 3 production. Like, he'd have to shoot at least, how many you think? He'd have to have at least 3 or 4 made threes a game. So he'd have to shoot 6 or 7, 8 at least a game. Do you is that in context of his game? Do you think he'd do that?
Somewhere around that vicinity and around a 39 to 42% mark, but that's not inconceivable for him either. He's got the talent to do that. In fact, his 3-point shooting percentage has improved pretty much every year he's been in the league. But the point is, the Cavaliers are set up to do this. All right, we all have to keep this in mind, because I asked this question to the panel a couple of days ago. Match up the Cavaliers, go through the entire East, the entire Eastern Conference, and match each team up with us. There is a weakness on every team we could exploit because of how big we are, and now because we are going to get Colin back, and now we're a little bit better on the perimeter with Ochi. I truly believe that. And also, this is going to be a key factor to keep your eye on. Luke Walton. They brought him in to be the offensive coordinator, so to speak. And I truly believe you're going to see a lot better offensive flow from the Cavaliers for a consistent run. Because if you think about it, in the interim, when they were on that long run starting, late November through almost mid-January, they were just blowing teams out of the building. There was a lot of continuity, a lot of flow. But it kind of hit a ceiling too, though, because they were kind of limited in their offensive game and their offensive skill because they didn't play together long enough to develop more. You see what I'm saying? It's like a quarterback in football. You give him half the playbook, and you expand the playbook game by game or year by year. And that's when he gets to the top of his level, if that makes sense. So that's why with the addition of Luke Walton and the 1-year experience that everybody has with each other last year coming in, and they're coming in together again, you're going to see a tremendous improvement.
I have a question for you guys. So if you have Ochai, our newest Cavalier, beloved Cavalier, Kobe Altman says he views Ochai as a 2, not a 3. So now we have, and by the way, D, love your use of plethora. Awesome. We have a plethora of people at the 2. We've got Colin, we've got Karras, we've got Okoro, who's more of a 2, and now we have Ochai. So, and the question is, we only have Lauri Markkanen at the 3, and he's not even a real 3, right? He's going to slot into probably Kevin Love's role after Kevin Love moves on, or, maybe hopefully we can keep him until his retirement on a much smaller contract. But How do we solve the 3? That's the question. What do you guys think?
Well, for me, with Ochai being at the 2, which I believe is a perfect spot for him, because I made this comment earlier when Chill was running his space and D was in there. You guys remember me saying this. When watching the clips on this kid and actually watching him, because I remembered I had to jog my memory of watching the tournament. The ball hits his hands, man. It's up in the air. So that's hard to defend. In other words, as soon as he catches it, he's ready to fire it. And he shoots it with conviction. And you can tell just by the way the rotation of the ball leaves his hand and the buckets that he was making at 41, 42%. So that's the perfect fit for him. With him at the 2 and the return of Colin Sexton, you can now take Okoro and pretty much put him back in what I believe to be his natural spot at the 3 behind Marketed. How do you feel about that, Lee?
So listen, I like, because I think Okoro is a 3, man. People keep saying he a 2. Oh, we gonna play him at the 2, bruh. Nothing about Okoro's game is a 2. And a lot of people get hung up on how skills and size measurables translate to what a person's position is. But I feel like your position is your skill set.
Well, he had to play the 2 out of necessity last year too. Don't forget, we ran out of bodies there.
No, we definitely ran out of bodies there. And right now what keeps me from wanting Okoro to play any type of shooting guard role is because his lack of imagination on offense. And that's what I call it. Because I think he got the skill set to do it. I think he can, but his mind don't think like that. You know what I mean? So until he starts doing that, I like it because that's a good offset. I come off with a 7-footer. You know what I'm saying? That's a mismatch on offense. Then I come back and I follow up with a defender that can do his thing. Ochai behind Sexton or Sexton behind Ochai. Well, I think it's Ochai behind Sexton. I like that too, though. You know what I'm saying? Because once again, I got a guy who's gonna give it to you off the dribble, penetrate, finish at the rim, and then I got a 3-and-D guy coming back that's gonna still give me transition work. You know what I'm saying? But got a more fluent jump shot from long range. So I like that. Anybody, come on, chime in. I see I got a light in here. You know what I'm saying? Welcome in. DeeTrynt game.
What's up? How's everybody doing today?
We good, baby. What's popping with you?
I got in here a little late. I apologize. Handling business, you know how that is. But anybody see Wendy's report today? And what do you think of it, if you did?
You talking about that? Now, I didn't want to try to bring this up in the space because, we get to talk about LeBron and people get to going crazy and nah.
You know how I am. I like to stir the pot. So, Brian and Art are probably like, oh, God, here he is again.
So I'll say this. Seeing LeBron break the all-time scoring record in the Cavaliers jersey is something I'm a true fan of. You know what I'm saying? But that is just that aspect of it, just for how sports media be trying to play Cleveland and all that. Like that would just be so fire to me. LeBron playing a 3 for this team isn't a bad idea, neither. The problem is, if I got to trade for him, I don't want him. If I have to trade for LeBron and give up anything to get him, I don't want him. If he want to end his contract and come over here and just play within whatever money structure we got, because you don't need the money. So if it's just about getting your scoring title and, you know what I'm saying, and just win another one with the Cavs as is, just helping this young team keep it on so that way we ain't got to worry about keeping them, breaking them up or nothing, then I'm cool.
I think that was the basic part of it, but the only thing is, like you were saying, they wanted to wait till 23 when they wouldn't have to make a trade for him, but the question is, how are you going to clear out that cap space to get him? And that would be the issue, because he's going to want to get paid no matter what, obviously. And you got young guys to consider, like you guys were just talking about the young bull, to keep Colin Sexton, to keep, some of these other guys. I mean, if we do, LeBron's out of the picture pretty much, probably. I wouldn't be upset by that.
I heard Wendy's report, and here's the thing, and everybody is forgetting this aspect of it. He wants to play with his son. His contract expires when his son comes into the league. So wherever his son gets drafted, he just might end up going. So don't forget that element.
Actually, I was just about to bring it up before you got in there, Brian. I was about to say, now if we don't draft Junior, then we might only have him for 1 year. You know what I mean? Depending on when Bronny Jr. comes out, you know?
Well, his contract with LA expires when his son comes into the league. That's 2 more years from now.
Right.
His son's a senior in high school.
So basically, we probably would be doing a 1 year rental because, let's face it, everybody and their mother is going to try to go after his son in the draft. And we're not going to be anywhere near, hopefully, the top of the draft if we got LeBron and on our team. So definitely would be something to think about.
Chill, come on in, jump in here.
Okay, so think about this aspect, right? I understand that the lure of LeBron is a big thing, right. But I'm saying he'll be damn near 39, like 39 years old, 38 years old, like that. That to me kind of is like when it's like, whoa, there, like I don't know if he want to put somebody. I mean at his age, even though he is great and athletic and all that stuff, right? All that, right? Good for the team, good for leadership, all that. It's just the fact that, right? They say his son might be a second-round pick. That's what these scouts are saying. These executives, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. But it's like, how good will LeBron really be at that time, though? Like, time doesn't stop for anybody, And like at that time, he'll be damn near 40, Like
And
that.
he's already breaking down. He broke down this year. First time in his career, he missed games because of injury.
Yeah, chunks of injuries to the leg, to his like all that stuff. Like to me, he's gonna slow down, and more injuries are gonna come up.
Yeah, that's why I say, like, y'all, I'm cool on the LeBron train. Right now, I'm trying to see. Before I go to that, I'm so glad that Brian, you brought up the Luke Walton point, because for some reason it kept being on the tip of my mind, but it was not what came out my mouth. Okay, and to add further to that, I want to give credit to JB and Kobe Altman, because if anybody remembers, right after the season ended, they came out, I say about a month later, 6 weeks later, and said, we're going to add to this coaching staff. We're going to do something different. It was also in the press, they said they need to be more creative on offense. And then here comes the Luke Walton signing. I like Luke Walton for a few reasons. For one, him and JB got kind of the same issue. All right. They're sons of former greats of the NBA. They both had, their various coaching stints. And, one is good at coaching offense. One is good at coaching defense. So, opposites attract. They usually mesh pretty well when utilized right. And I feel like that is something that could work really well. Now, hopefully there's no underlying thing where, Luke Walton is positioned to take over on some old craziness, because we don't need no more drama in Cleveland with our coaching staffs. All right. Players, we probably could, but coaching staff, we don't need no more drama. So I feel like the offense is going to take a turn for the better. And to me, it's got to start with Laurie and Karras coming off the bench. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, when you can come off the bench with a Karis LeVert, a Isaac Okoro, and a Laurie Marketing, I mean, you got two guys that could give you 20 or 30 easy, definitely at least 15. And you got a defensive, athletic guy who can play the wing. You know what I'm saying? His offensive game growing. Man, look, so like I say, I think the offense is gonna do better. It's just, what is the JB gonna do? Like, what is the ideal? Let me ask y'all this, right? What is the ideal starting lineup and bench lineup for this team to be a title contender?
As is.
As is, yeah, as is.
Well, I told you guys how I feel. I go with Darius, Karras, and the big three, Marketing, Allen, and Mobley, and I feel I bring Colin off the bench. Now you got Ochai off the bench. You still got Kevin Love off the bench. You still got Okoro, Lamar Stevens, and it all depends on how Summer League goes, whether or not we're going to get anything out of the second rounders that we drafted. Now, I know the 1 second rounder, they already said he's a grab and stash. They're going to leave him in Europe. They've already said that. So depending on what Mobley or Jock can give you, depends on whether or not they can be like a backup to the center or maybe the 3 or the 4. I'm not expecting that, okay? I'm expecting them to be maybe two-way players between the G League and when we need them up here. But what the way you're set up right now as is, I think that's the lineup to go with, because Colin coming in off the benches could be that lightning rod that Rubio was, if you think about it, along with Love. So I think that's the best course of action, because when that was in motion last year, again, remember, they were killing people, because you've now eliminated Jetty Osman and you got Ochai in that role. For me, see what I'm saying? So now you move Okoro coming in off the bench into his natural position for Laurie. And I don't think Okoro's ready to take over the starting position from Laurie. I just don't. So I think that's the best option.
And let me say this too, Brian, because soon as you left the other space, wait, hold on 1 second, Chill.
Chill, you agree with that?
I do agree. To me, I think, in my opinion, I mean, we don't know if Rubio's going to come back either. So that to me, that's a big factor as far as like a guard rotation goes. But if he doesn't come back, you can easily do like Sexton and then somebody else off the bench with him easily. Or like Sexton and Ochai off the bench, or like Sexton, Ochai, Okoro, whatever, right? And you
don't forget Lamar Stevens. You
Lamar Stevens also. Which, I mean, sometimes Lamar can probably, I can probably say, I mean, you can probably sometimes switch between small forward and power forward at times, depending on the matchup goes, you know.
And I totally forgot about my boy Dean Wade.
And Dean Wade's also there too, yeah. So I mean,
they got depth.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we got like probably 3 guys at least, almost at every position that can really fill in, or they're at least like interchangeable in their roles. So to me, I think Jamie's gonna have an interesting time going over Luke Walton and the other coaches, Greg Buckner, with this whole entire rotation and lineup's gonna be concerned. They're definitely gonna have some meetings on that and see who plays what and iron out the minutes.
Can I make a comment real quick, guys? Just real quick.
Go ahead.
It's unrealistic to think Colin Sexton is going to resign and agree to come off the bench, guys. You're talking about a 24-point scorer at 22 years old with excellent efficiency and an underrated passer. He was damn near 25-5, guys. And you think hold on. You think he's going to agree?
Yes,
He's not coming off the bench. He's not going to resign and come off the bench. Forget that. He's not.
Can I tell you why I think so?
He's not. His agent is saying that he's not.
But can I tell you why I think so?
Hold on, boy. Let him get his thoughts in.
Can I tell you why I think so?
Okay.
All right. Me, Tim Guiding and Artie, we run a space called the OGs of Cleveland Sports. And we had Chris Fedor in there a couple of days ago. Okay. And at the end of the interview, I waited till the very end. I asked the last question. And I went right at Chris and I gave him my theory and I asked him his thoughts about Colin coming off the bench. And it was a 3-part question or 2-part question. A, would he do it? Right? And B, would he accept it? Now, doing it and accepting it are 2 different things. And Chris Fedor said verbatim, Colin will do whatever is asked of him to do because all he wants to do is win. And if J.B. Bickerstaff went to him and said, Colin, It's not about losing your spot. It's about where we can maximize the team and we can maximize your skills and everything else like that. Chris Fedor said verbatim, as well as I know Colin, he would gladly accept that role. So I'm just saying what I was
no way. Colin is telling folks, his agent came out and said, we are looking for 20s starting, and it's right there on Twitter. We're looking for starting guard money in the 20s starting. I mean, they didn't mix words in here. So when you put guys on the bench, right, you're cutting into their finances. People don't understand this. Guys don't just say, oh, okay, it's about winning. It's about the team. I want to start. I want to be the best that I can be, and I want to help the team win. You don't take a 22-year-old who averages damn near 25-5 and say, you know what? We're just gonna put you on the bench now because it's all about the team. You're cutting into his finances too. You can't forget that.
Wait, so all right. Now, and so this point was brought up, and it's really true. All right. Basketball is not football. All right. So when you come off the bench, it depends on your position. All right. And what he said was the sixth man. Now, I don't know a championship team that didn't have a valuable sixth man. All right. Because that sixth man player plays starter minutes. So it's about utilization more than ego. All right. Yeah, I could start you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and you could do numbers, but I could bring you off as a six man. And bro, and I've said this a few times. So, and this is where I'm like, I want him to start, but I ain't tripping if he come off the bench because I said Colin Sexton could lead the league in scoring and could possibly get MVP votes as a six man for this Cavs team because of how it's structured, because of how it could be utilized. He's a closer, so I'm with you, bro. Colin Sexton is definitely worth $20 million a year. At the same token,
over 20, over 20. But
you seen me, bro. You seen my post where I said I would give him 125 to 150. But also too, I understand that he's 22. So right now,
22.
I could be getting him at a bargain, or I could be getting him at an overprice. So where do I meet in the middle?
But here's the thing, though, D. Here's the thing. When you talk about a six men they're not getting in the 20s. The highest six man salary is like 18 million. Okay. You talking about guys who Colin Sexton has been better than. Check out the numbers. I can give you Murray, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, De'Aaron Fox, Mitchell. I can give you Devin Book. He has been as good, if not better, than all these guys. Okay? These guys are getting $33 million per, and they're asking him who he's been as good as, to take even half of their money. You want to give, that's like D, I do the same thing you do. If I was doing the same thing you did, I'm as good. I get all the accolades as a chef and so forth and so on. So you get paid $200,000 and I have more credentials and I'm getting $100,000. How the hell is that fair?
It don't make no sense. No, I got you. Wait, hold on, boy. Let me get Andrew.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you good, bro. Just hit your mute for me right quick. Let me get background noise. We gonna go to Andrew and then we gonna swing and Chill.
All right. Well, Chill was first. If he wants to go, that's all right.
No, Chill the host. He gonna get a lot of floor time. He cool. Chill
okay.
He's gonna get a lot of floor time.
No worries. So, like, if I were the Cavs, like, I understand, when people say that Colin is worth 20 million a year, like, I completely understand that. If you look at, I think, I don't know if you guys saw Braden, he put out a list of guys who are making $20 million a year. And maybe this was like a cherry picked list, but Colin was definitely better than all those dudes. The thing is, if you're the Cavs, like, you're pretty much trying to bid against yourself at this point. Like one of the teams that we'd be really scared would good to come and get Colin was Detroit, and now with after the draft, they're looking like, I don't think anything less of it, but everybody's saying that they're not looking very much at Colin Sexton anymore. So like honestly, who else is going to get Colin at this point? So what they would do is they would just give him a qualifying offer, and then they would match anybody else that would put up anything about it, keep him as a tradable asset, and then they would keep access to their full level exception. Sorry, their mid level exception, and then they could sign Rubio on that. So, like, what do the Cavs? Why would the Cavs offer Colin Sexton more? That would completely eliminate all of their salary cap flexibility. It doesn't make any sense.
Chill.
To me, we got two teams that are pretty much, I say, desperate for Colin Sexton and his services. I think Washington, to me, is very, very close to looking at Sexton because Bradley Beal basically has indicated, I want to win. I want to win. And if I'm them, the free agency class, to me, is basically non-existent for them. Who's going to want to come to Washington? Who's going to want to play? So then they have to resort to giving up sign and trade for Colin Sexton. They're going to have to resort to that. You know, I mean, they got Ish Smith and Neto off the bench. My thing is, you want to upgrade those two, right? So Colin Sexton would be like probably the number one option for them, and probably the number one trade target they're looking at. And off that, we could probably easily get a Kuzma or like a KCP or something like that, you know. Or we can just extend Colin Sexton. So either way, it's a win-win. It's not like he's unrestricted, so he can just walk out the door, you know.
And I'll say this, and I'll say this. Even if I'm giving him 20, 21 million a year, okay, fine. And him getting 18 to 22 points a game, great. Don't matter whether he's a sixth man or a starter. If I'm getting 18 to 22, who cares where it's coming from? We're winning basketball games. At the end of the day, that's what it's supposed to be all about. And I'll leave you with this. My man Manu Ginobili made himself a bag as a sixth man, so let's not forget that.
That was the point I was going to bring up, because as soon as you left Chill Space earlier, Frog came right in saying that, bro, and it was so funny. I was like, bro, Brian been saying this for weeks. He been saying the same thing. So, that's playing players to their strengths should be the priority.
Frog heard me say that, D.
I know he did. You know what I'm saying? But playing players to their strengths should be a priority. And their strength should contribute to whatever the winning concept or strategy is of the overall team style. And right now, with what the Cavs have, me personally, I don't see a reason for them to make a move unless that move involves Chetty and Love. But even still, because as much as I've been saying I want Love off the team, all right, the ideal of, and this is contingent on if Marketing coming off the bench, right? The idea of having, whether it's Karras and Ocha, or Sexton and Ocha, or Karras and Sexton, or if it's Sexton the core, however the case goes, right? Having Marketing and Love as your big man, yeah, you probably gonna give up on the rebounding, but the floor spacing is gonna be so crazy. There's literally going to be nobody in the paint to stop these guys from penetrating. So it's like you really coming in and you can play a team any which way you want to. You know what I'm saying? And the Cavs haven't, when have we ever seen a Cavalier team with this much versatility in a lineup? You know what I'm saying? Like, when have we ever seen a Cavaliers team with this much continuity, where all the players actually like each other, where they get along, where they kick it? Like, we are in a new era of Cleveland, and winning is a priority. And I gotta listen, as much as people hate LeBron and do all that, man, I gotta appreciate what he came back and did, because he came back and set a standard that Cleveland should be a championship contending team. You know what I'm saying? And he did it for 4 consecutive seasons. So when Colin got here, and this is another reason why I be mad about people trying to get rid of Colin. Colin was the first pick of the rebuild. He played his first season around all those guys who had been to 3, 4, 2 straight championship finals. All right. He wants that. He wants that. You know what I'm saying? And in my opinion, he is the undoubted leader of this team. If you hear how the rest of these players talk when they doing their interviews, they always give big ups to Colin. Colin, we got together. Colin was there. We went to do this. Colin was like, so when you got a guy who is ultimately could be considered the heartbeat of the team in so many respects, man, you're going to have hell to pay on your hands if you get rid of him for no reason.
Well, it's been reported that him and Garland are almost inseparable. They've been doing everything together.
Bro, listen, I've said this, okay? And you've heard me say this, Brian. I'm say it again, bro. That starting lineup could give me 50 and 20 every night or close to it. All right. Name me another backcourt that's doing that. You know what I mean? So that alone puts you in the game. Some teams sometimes only score 70 or 80 points in the game. And I can get 50 from 2 players.
Well, right? and that leads me to my point, D. What second tier lineup is going to deal with a Sexton and a Love? And I mean, if Ochai comes in and does this thing, what second tier lineup's going to do that?
None. That lineup fire. Because when you dissect that lineup, right, and you say, I got Colin as my point off the bench, I got Ochai next to him and Okoro playing the 3. First off, and I'm gonna keep saying this, man, Sexton is 6'1" with a 6'9" wingspan. Okay, very athletic at 22 years old, bro. He can get better at defense as years goes on. And he's already pretty good at it for real. And he getting bigger and thicker and stronger. You know what I'm saying? So that should help him out too. But then you got Ochai and Okoro, who are both athletic, can play above the rim, can run the floor. One can shoot. One can at least finish at the rim at a high level along go with Sexton. And then you got Love, the sharpshooter, who, I mean, it's going to be so easy to forget that Love is out there on the floor. You know what I'm saying? That lineup will only need a true rebounder and rim protector. All right. And this is where I like Ja. This is where it's almost like the universe gave us a second chance. Like, okay, you got the first job and that didn't really pan out. But I got a better job for you right here. Let's see what you can do with this. You know what I mean? And I'm really looking forward to seeing him play. And I'm looking forward to the battle between Isaiah Mobley and Dean Wade. And I say them too because they just signed Dean Wade to they just exercised that option right before the draft. So that means to tell me that they were on the fence about him. Not necessarily does he fit, but just how big of a role he's going to have. So if Dean Wade is looking for a bigger role than we ready to give him, then at least we have an Isaiah Mobley to fall back on. You know what I mean?
The only thing Isaiah's got to work on is he's got to use his other hand. He's pretty much right-handed dominant. He's got to learn to use that left a little bit more, but if he does, yeah, he could be hell. He could be hell, and he can shoot the lights out of the ball.
He can shoot. Man, that was the thing that stood out. He can shoot. Ooh, he could shoot. Boy, I was like, hey, man, listen. Dean Wade in trouble, bro. Dean Wade in trouble. And Isaiah Mobley can play D.
Now, I don't think he's in trouble for this season coming up. But in the future, yeah, I could probably see that, and we could probably end up parting ways with him at some point. But for this particular year coming up, though, he'll be a key piece.
For sure. Well, look.
Because I really don't think I really don't think the Cavs are like going to rush either Isaiah or John. I really don't think they're going to do that. I think they like what they got, definitely like what they got. And I think they know it could be that year or two progress that these kids are going to need to get to where we would like them to be. There's no question about that. But I try to focus on the upcoming year only. I don't try to look too far ahead. So I think Dean Wade this year will be a key piece for them.
We gonna go back to coaching and all this, man. It just depends on what everybody's defined role is. I like I said, I like Dean Wade. He's deceptively athletic. He has a respectable long range jump. He has respectable defense for guys that's around his size. He doesn't have like a standout trait. But I think Dean Wade could just price out of his value for us. I think it's a team out there that would be like, Dean Wade, I got like 15, 20 million for you. I got about 6, 5 to 8 million a year for you or something.
Oh, yeah, eventually I agree with you.
You know what I'm saying? And I think the same thing for Lamar Stevens, too. Lamar has a better offensive game than he's been given credit for. And I think what he lacks is ball handling. If he was a better ball handler, I think he would be a guaranteed rotational guy for any playoff team. I think he likes playing in Cleveland. I think Dean Wade likes playing in Cleveland. But I do think those are two guys who will kind of price out. And I think that's a good thing because that, to me, moves like that solidify that we have a good developmental program going on here in Cleveland. Because these two guys went undrafted, and they go from undrafted to key rotation market guys after a few seasons. I think that.
Yeah, well, if you look at Lamar, he got noticeably better from October of last year to the end of the season. He got noticeably better. So, and that's, in small steps throughout 1 year. So who knows what kind of jump he can make the following year.
No, it's real. So let me ask y'all this. Hold on, let me telegraph. All right. DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk, InDaStreetzSportz, live from Twitter Spaces. We streaming on all social platforms. So right now you can catch us on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. Later on after we end it, you can replay it and catch it on Spotify, Anchor, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and various other streaming platforms. But let me ask y'all, what is a realistic projected numbers for Ochai? So let's say Ochai starts and he gets 27 minutes a game. Let's say average about 27 minutes a game. What do you think his production will be? Or if he's coming off the bench and he's getting 15 to 18 minutes a game, what do you all think his production could be?
Well, I don't think he's going to start. I think he's going to come off the bench. And if you can get 12 to 15 a night or even 10 to 14 a night out of him, I think it's a home run in his first year.
We going around the horn?
Chill, what you got, bro?
I think if you just put him in a Koro's role, I think he does well. Like, to me, those 3 or 4 missed shots that Okoro does, he'll make up for it.
12 to 15.
Yeah, 12 to 15 points a night. I think he can out the gate, to be honest with you.
The only reason why I say 12 to 15, I'm not cut you off, Joe. I want you to finish. The only reason why I say that is because that dude can shoot the three.
Yeah, when you shoot 41% from three, I believe. To me, I think that'll still translate. Your shooting stroke doesn't change, man. So I think, to me, he can easily fit in Okoro's role, and then Okoro can have a lesser role a little bit, I think, below him a little bit, to be honest.
I've seen him stop and pop on a fast break, and he's shooting NBA threes. He wasn't shooting college threes. So, yeah, I think 12 to 15 is a good number for him. Off the bench, I'll take that all day long.
That's better than some starters.
How many minutes would he play, do you think?
That depends on multiple different things. Matchups, number one. Flow of the game, number two. If he's hot or not, number three.
But just for numbers, is like, if we're trying to see like what kind of numbers he would do, if you said his average number of minutes per game would be what?
In the beginning, I'd say 18 to 22. Probably increase to somewhere around 25. And then, towards the middle part of the season when he got when he got comfortable, I'd say that'd be a fair number. How you think? Go ahead.
No, go for it. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I'm just like, what do you think his, like, Ochai for his, like, what would be his, the metric that would be the thing that you could tell that his success rate? Would it be his 3-point percentage? Would it be his points per game, his minutes per game, his, his defensive rating, his net rating? Like, which one do you think would be the most important for his development? So you could look at that one stat and be like, this dude is killing it right now.
Two things for me. His 3-point percentage, because in college, I think he was at 6 shots a game, 6 3-pointers a game. Chill if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I think it was 6 shots a game from 3, and he was putting up 41, almost 42%. And the other part of it that I'm looking for is transitional points and transitional defense. Those are the two things that I would be looking for out of him.
I was gonna say his role. To me, man, a defined role has so much impact on a player's growth. All right, because if I'm not sure how my skill set is supposed to help the team win, then I think it's just hard for a player to really just work on their game per se. Now, I mean, not saying that they can't work on their game and they can't get better. I'm not saying that or insinuating that at all. What I am saying, though, is when they know, like, okay, I'm here for 3 and D, then I'm saying, if I know I'm here as just a scorer off the dribble, you know what I'm saying, then I know I got time to work on my defense, especially if I got, the intangible traits that could translate to me being a good defender. But his role, because of his skill set, will be my answer. 3 and D guy, athletic. That's exactly what we need on this team. He would get a lot of good open shots. He wouldn't just get open. He would get, I mean, do you remember the shots Okoro was getting wide open? Okay.
Well, that's because our big men, in my opinion, the best passing big men in the NBA, which is going to create those open shots on the arc. You're right.
Also, there are people leaving him alone out there. Like, he was honestly a non-factor on offense, and they were leaving him unguarded for a reason.
They're not going to leave Ocho. You know what I'm saying? And if they do, he going to make them pay. Because I feel like,
yes, sir,
if you start Ocho, he can kind of be forgotten by the opposing defense. You know what I'm saying? Having to deal with a Sexton and a Garland, and then still having to put up with Allen and Mobley. And then they like, oh, you got that? Ocha, shoot it. Bruh. Ain't like Brian keeps saying, he shoots with so much conviction and so much confidence. I mean, he virtually shoots it, and he shot it in college the way we wanted Lauri Markkanen to shoot it for us. So I think not only is he a good fit, I just feel like that role, man, that role gotta matter. Because I say it like this: if Ochai and Okoro played that 3 spot, I don't think that's a bad rotation either.
In the beginning, I see him as a pick and pop player, okay, because of his shooting ability. And then on the other side of it, if he's on like the weak side, like somebody said that, they're not going to leave him alone like they left Okoro alone. Well, okay, if you're going to do that, then you're taking somebody away from defending Mobley or Allen underneath.
And that could be a problem. So it's almost going to be like the Browns, right? With Deshaun. You got to pick your poison. You're going to defend the pass or you're going to defend the run. What are you going to do? Because you're not defending everything. So, I mean, that's what I look for him. I look for him this year. Hopefully, as his years go on, he'll work on, which I think he can do, because this notion of him not being able to put the ball on the floor, I don't know, man. I watched about 20 minutes worth of clips on this kid. I seen him put the ball on the court. You know,
his handle is bad though. His handle is super loose.
His handle may be bad, but I've seen him put the ball on the floor and get to the hole.
Okay, wait.
For right now, that's good enough. Now he could work on his handle, but then again, I don't know that we need him to be a handling type point guard either.
I was just about to say, when we talk about handles, man, it's so many levels. All right. Now, when you're a scorer, right, you don't always got to have the exceptional handles, but do you have enough candles to create yourself a shot off the dribble? Which I think he does have. He got a jab step, a triple threat. He got a, off the pick bounce that he could do, couple dribbles, get him to the lane. I think it's serviceable enough. And I think he can get better because, bro, when you practice with guys that's got handles, bro, and your handle don't get better, man, that's a problem. Chill.
To me, right, Jaylen Brown necessarily doesn't have the best handles, but he can still get to any spot on the floor, right? So also he said in an interview that one of his best really skills was when he's off the ball and he's able to cut and go curl outs and all the other type of stuff. Also, he considered himself a lob threat. That's another thing. You can throw a lob to him easy. His vertical's crazy. So
yeah, I saw a lot of backdoor cuts, alley-oop dunks in that 20 minutes I watched of him too.
He went high. That boy can jump out the gym. So to me, we can use that to our advantage, right? I remember last year where our offense would go stagnant. No one would be cutting. No one would be going backdoor, especially after Rubio went down. So no one would be cutting, no one would go backdoor, and so on and so forth. And I can easily see him going baseline and cutting across and then getting the alley-oop or getting a handoff and then dunking the ball. Like, that's not out the question either.
Andrew.
So, do you guys subscribe to The Athletic?
I am not a fan of those guys. I fucking hate those guys.
Dude, I mean, I got them. There's no way I'd ever pay full price for that, but I got $1.99 per month for a year. And I was like, oh, I'll do that. Sounds good. They have a really good, like a full scouting report on Ochai. And
how far off was I? Come on, tell me, how far off was I?
Just paying you, man. Paying you. Like, get on that payroll.
No, for real. I only watched 20 minutes of clips on this kid. I really want to know how far off I am from the athletics report.
All right, it said there. So they said that pretty much they said that Ochai, like the good things about it is that he is an amazing shooter. He's a great he's an amazing catch and shoot. All of his shooting metrics, they're easily translatable to the NBA. Like that's exactly what they're going to get. He's an amazing athlete. He is a great cutter. Definitely, it takes is a great lob threat. Can go to the hoop. He's a great defender. Way above average athlete. He could probably guard the one or the two. The biggest weaknesses for him is that if he does put the ball on the floor, then his shooting percentages go down a lot, and he doesn't have any mid-range game. His floater game is absolutely horrible. He's not a very good passer, and so that is going to be the big thing that's going to help take him to the next level. And his handle's bad too. He loses a lot of balls. He turns all the ball over a lot. So the first thing that's going to happen is that they're wondering, okay, if they guard Ochai close and they either they make him move around, they make him a less effective shooter, and then B, if he has to put the ball on the floor, his handle is shaky and he has no mid-range game. And so if you get him close to the hoop, then yeah, he can finish. But that's the big thing. Like, he's a great three-point shooter and he's great around the basket, but everywhere else, it's a big question mark. And it's just going to see, where he can go depends upon what his ceiling is going to be. Can he get the handle under control? Can he create a shot for himself? And if so, that's going to be step one. Step two would be get his passing under control, right? If he has the ability to make the defense respect him and draw defenders towards him, if he has gravity, then he can make those easy reads. Like, he's starting to be a better passer, but he's still not, he's not a playmaker style level. So that's what they said, that that's what is going to depend upon him going to the next level and seeing if he can be that next level guy that the Cavs need to get to that Eastern Conference championship level.
Well, the one thing that makes me feel good about all those flaws that he has is every year from his freshman year to his senior year, he improved upon something. Okay. And in college, you got multiple things going on in your life, not just basketball. Now he's going to be able to focus in just on basketball. So for me, all I would like to see him improve on is probably three things for him to be a legitimate two. Now we're not talking one, we're talking two. A legitimate two would be the mid-range, like you said, the 18, 15-footer, which he has the touch to do. Because what I mean by that is when you look at a guy shoot a basketball, you look for two things: rotation, off his hand, release. Basically, that's all in one for me. And how the ball comes off the rim. Even from three, right? The ball comes off the rim when he even misses. Soft, nice. So he's got great touch. With that being said, he should be able, if he works on it hard enough, he locks himself in the gym, he should be able to develop that with literally no problem. And his free throw percentage. He needs to stick his butt on the line and shoot about 1,000 free throws a day too. But those are things that he has the ability to do. And the reason why I think that is because there was a story on him. He was thinking about coming out after I think it was his sophomore or his junior year. And they told him, no, your shooting's not good enough. He says, okay. So he came out in his senior year and shot 41, 42%. Because the NBA game is now morphed into the three. All right. So now take this year and develop that mid-range. By the time the kid's 25, he's what, 22 now? If we can get him to that point by the time he's 25, he'll make that 14th pick look like it should have been the number one overall. Would you agree with that assessment?
He definitely gonna make it more valuable than what it seemed like on the surface. I'm gonna say this by saying we coming around to the end of this. I'm gonna be, coming down to the final thoughts and everything like that. But this team, man, has me excited. And the addition of Ocha has added fuel to that. Because I felt like, he added something that we needed to this team.
Desperately.
And he seems like a team player. Everybody that we drafted seems like a team player. And I like that.
You know what, D? I'm glad you brought that up because that's something that struck me today. I heard Kobe on the radio talking about him, and he talked about his family, he talked about his father, he talked about his sister. So they know all about this kid, right? And the one thing that he said, that again, remember I was telling you guys before in other spaces how they're being extremely careful of who they bring into that locker room. Mm-hmm. He's a team guy and he's a great human being. So the Cavs are doing their homework on the mentalities and the makeups of the players that they're bringing in, because I think they struck gold without even knowing it. Kind of like I don't know if you guys ever remember the show, the Beverly Hillbillies.
I do.
Dude was out there shooting for some food, and he struck gold. Texas tea, right? I think the Cavs. I think that's what they ran across last year, unexpectedly, and they cherish what they got. From from upper management all the way down to the coaching staff. And that's another reason why I don't feel, any certain way. In fact, I feel good about the whole Luke Walton thing coming in, because they're extremely calculated on, what they want to do, because they know they got something special and they're not going to screw it up. So that's my take.
So I want to go around and get everybody's final thoughts. Most likely, man, the space is probably gonna start up sometime later with one of us. I might even come back and do another show in a couple hours. But I want to go around the horn to all the speakers and get everybody's final thoughts. So I'm gonna start from Andrew, go to Tim, come to Connor, and then swing it on back around to me at the Chill and Brian. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. Just want to say, first of all, thank you guys for the space. I really appreciate it. I've been a part of some other spaces where everybody's just talking all over each other and cursing each other and shouting. It's a horrible experience, but you guys are always so nice and so respectful, and everybody, talks their turn, and it's a great atmosphere. So I really appreciate it. Final thoughts. I was at least a little bummed when they got Ochai, but after thinking about it and thinking about who was available there at the time, I'm actually really excited. I'm really excited to see this team, and I'm really excited to see how everybody comes together. And I think this is we're halfway to the finished product, so I'm really excited to see how far this team can go, and I think we can host a playoff series if we're going. So thank you, fellas. Appreciate it.
Always, anytime, my guy. You welcome anytime you see us on the spaces, whether it's this one or any one of us, bro. You share some really good thoughts. You have some really positive feedback, and you articulate it exceptionally well. So it was a pleasure to meet you and to have you on here, guy, for sure.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot us all a follow, because I run spaces usually in the morning sometimes. Every now and then I'll do one at night. But yeah, you're more than welcome to jump into any of it. Always glad to listen to insight and different opinions. Don't necessarily always have to agree, but we could always agree to disagree sometimes. But at least we're hearing each other and we're understanding each other. And that's the way the world works, in my opinion. So thanks for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Tim, what's good, baby?
Hey, I just wanted to kind of add on to what everybody's been saying and just add a little bit of a holistic approach and look at it. We talk about luck and how we lucked out that Ochai was available there at 14. Well, part of luck is circumstance and putting yourself in a position to have that luck. And for us, yeah, we didn't get to play in the playoffs, but because we didn't, we had the opportunity to pick up a guy that's going to be a very valuable piece for us down the road and this year. We're not looking at somebody, looking for somebody to develop now and use his strengths while he's developing the things that he needs to work on and take us over the hump and get us at least in the playoffs and see how far we can go from there. And I love LeBron, but I don't love him enough to bring him back. That's all I got.
My man Tim, man. Like I say, you can catch him a part of the OGs of Ohio. Him, Brian, Art, and it's a few more. So I don't mean no disrespect if I ain't say your name. But definitely make sure y'all follow him, check him out. And also, when you hear the rants going on the radio shows and to who is that run Cleveland Sports now? What did they do? The little streaming. You will hear God and Light on there giving this feedback and things. So definitely check my guy out, man. Really entertaining and very knowledgeable. Connor, what's good with you, baby?
What's up, D? How you doing, brother?
I'm good, my guy. How you feeling?
Been listening this whole time. I haven't really spoken or chimed in, but I'm at work right now, so just listening, of course. And but yeah, good space. I wasn't able to tune into everything. But I like the draft pick. I think the board felt pretty nicely. They had so many options there. They could have took a dude from OSU. They could have took Griffin. They could have took a couple other guys. They had so many options there. They could honestly trade back. And maybe we got Malachi went 20th, right? He was like projected top 12, top 15 at least. He dropped down, so yeah, the board definitely felt pretty nice for him. That Mobley pick, pretty good pick. The other two picks, those seem like to be kind of like those are going to be more of a process. Gotta let those guys develop. I guess we'll see if we ever see them in a Cavs jersey, but. Other than that, I know you guys talked about Wendy, talking about LeBron coming back. I know some people are kind of against it, but to me, LeBron's, the greatest of all time, easily. Um, and, the greatest player of all time, who also still put up 30 points last year and shot still fairly efficient. It's not like his numbers were bad or anything. People are like, oh, he's old now. Whatever, he threw up, 30 points less per game. He's still efficient. He's still averaging, 8 and 6 probably. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but the dude's still balling. He's the best of all time. There's no debate to that, in my opinion. Best all-around player. But if he wants to come back, I'm not going to trade away pieces, but if he's a free agent in 2023, I'm going to bring him in. I might not, it depends on the money. But it's going to be interesting in off-season next year, that's for sure. Appreciate it, D.
Anytime, Connor, man. Make sure y'all follow Connor too, man. He always coming through the spaces when he can. Usually has some really good input. And he funny too, man. He being mild manner right now because he at work, but he usually cracking a lot of jokes.
You
Yeah,
always
I
got to
mean,
have fun. More of a Browns guy than a Cavs guy, but, I still watch the Cavs. But I appreciate it, D.
man, anytime, bro. You already know you
I got
always, bro.
15 minutes. I got 15 minutes and I'm off. It's the weekend.
Oh,
You
dude.
know that. You know that.
Art, I see you down there, baby. I know you just got finished getting your hair trimmed up and everything like that. You feel what I'm saying? So I
You know
know
what
you're
that
gonna
means.
throw in a couple pieces right quick. Come on, jump in here
Yeah, but
for the co-host. Go ahead and end it off.
Hey, I appreciate the you let me speak in your space. I was able to listen earlier when Hiram was on, so I appreciate you, man, and I like what you got going on. But I just wanted to say no to LeBron. I love LeBron. I just want to know as a fan that we can do it without him. That's number one. And number two, um, number two, I just think us being able to talk about the Cavs and the NBA is a breath of fresh air. We've been beating the hell out of the Browns. I'm glad that we're able to really this week, other than the whole situation with the settling of the cases, we kind of been off the Browns, which has been a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, D, keep doing your thing, man, and anything I can do to help support you, let me know, homie. Oh,
Nah,
real quick, don't forget, um, excuse me, the OGs of Cleveland sports is myself, it's Guiding Light, and it's BG you see up there. We just try to have respectful content where we talk about old Cleveland sports as well as new Cleveland sports. So we just building. We appreciate any support that y'all could give us. Like if y'all see we having a space, just share it with your people, and we'll do the same for you guys. So we appreciate and love you, D. Thanks, man.
love you too, bro. It's always a pleasure to have you on here, man. And the OGs, man. Cause look, I'm kind of in the middle. I ain't they OG status yet, but I ain't the young whippersnapper no more. I'm kind of like, I guess I'm like a puma or something, maybe like a mountain lion a little bit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
But
stay where you are because you'll be doing like me, physical therapy on knees and everything else like that.
man, that's that brisket, man. It's that brisket you be brewing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Way heavy on the
That
body.
good
You know
shit.
what I'm saying? Chill, baby. Where you at, baby? Terry, let me hear from you.
Yeah, man. So my final thoughts, man. I'm really excited for the season. I'll be very interested to see what we do in free agency. Hopefully Rubio comes back because it seemed like we have mutual interest in him. Also, follow me and Caden. We do Brown Cavs After Dark. So we have that every Tuesday and Saturday. We'll be on next Tuesday. We're taking a break on Saturday. But yeah, come and follow us, man. Good content, and everyone's welcome. So yeah, appreciate you, D. Appreciate it.
Man, anytime, man. Make sure y'all follow Chill. And for those who viewing this from the other social platforms, all these spaces you can find on Twitter. So make sure you follow Brian, God and Light, OGRT, Chill One, Connor, Andrew. You know what I mean? Industry Sports, DeeTrynt. You know what I'm saying? It's all on Twitter, but you can find a lot of us on multiple social platforms. You know, as I've been saying. Brian, what's good with you, baby?
Well, I must admit, because of the unknown with the Browns, I'm probably pretty much more excited for the Cavs coming up this year, but I got some theories that might happen with the Browns, and I'll cover that a little bit later. But
No,
as
don't do that
always,
to us. Come on now.
I got some theories.
I
You'll have
don't
to
like
wait.
surprises.
I'm still investigating. But no,
You
as
know my DMs.
always,
You know my DMs.
as always, I'll leave you all with this. Love your families, love your children, and love each other. It's truly the only way we're going to change the world.
That's a fact. Make sure y'all follow my boy Big G. Man, Brian, he's been a breath of fresh air. And that's not slight to nobody else. Brian is unique.
Most certainly.
To be an elder statesman, I would say, the way he is able to maintain his composure and articulate his thoughts and really kind of keep the room calm. I mean, I've seen chaotic rooms he's been in, and then he'll come in and speak, and it's just like everybody just kind of follows suit. And I'd be lying if I say I didn't even follow that sometimes myself. You know what I'm saying? Just seeing how he operated, how he moved, helped me keep myself in check when I'm on these joints. Because if y'all know, I get passionate. I get a little chaotic a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it's always a pleasure to be on these spaces, and it's been an even more pleasure to get to know you, Brian, for sure, for sure.
Thank you so much, D. You have I very much, very, very, very much appreciate that and humbled by that. Thank you.
Anytime, my guy. Connor, I seen you with your hand up. You wanted to say something else before I ended it off.
Yeah, everything said about BG is most definitely the truth. I know BG one time said recently, he was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize so many people, liked me in regards to getting, messages from his knee surgery." Um, Definitely a very likable, respectable dude around here, and one of the nice guys out there. Most certainly, BG. Always remember that.
You cats are making me blush now. Enough. Talk some shit about me.
It's
All
cool,
right.
man. You still got that Joker limp
Hey,
over there. You
hey,
gonna be
hey,
good.
D, you did miss it one night. I believe Connor. I think he's the only one in this room right now that was in a space one night where I lost my head. Only once. Only
Yeah.
did it
It was
once.
about Baker, right?
Yeah, I
He
went
ruined our
on about a
Christmas.
good 5-minute rant, and my whole Navy tongue came back out that I used to have a long time ago. And yeah, I've lost my shit one time, and it was pretty entertaining. I got freaking tweets and DMs like, "Dude, you need to keep doing that." I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's not me." that was just a moment that I had. So.
Man, I seen Icky just came in. Icky, what up, baby? I'm sorry that you came in at the end, bro. But I want to say this too while you in here. Also, Caden, shout out to you, bro. I see you in here. I see you ain't come up, but I do see you in here, bro. Blaze has been on the stream since I started the space.
Right. He always
So I
is.
appreciate the fact him coming up here, listening, chiming in, supporting. Mandy as well. It's been a pleasure having you here as well, darling. I see you down there. You've been listening and chatting. We appreciate all the support. Um, Me myself, as a final thoughts. First, I want to say I don't always do spaces. I usually go live and stream live on the various platforms. So, it's usually on a Thursday or Friday because those are my off days. Um, I always usually just send the links and stuff. So everybody are always free to come in. You see the link, you want to come up, get up on the video stream, get your FaceTime on. You're always welcome to do that. You know what I'm saying? If you just following me on Twitter, Make sure to follow on Facebook, Instagram too. Industry Sports, y'all see that down there. That's the magic behind the mic and all the engineering. So definitely hit him up, following. You can catch all the Game Changer Sports Talks on YouTube on the Industry Sports page. That's on the Industry Sports page as well on Spotify and Anchor. You'll see Game Changer Sports Talk. I got a few other podcasts I do when it's about music and do something about cooking. You know what I'm saying? But we'll get into that on another time. As far as the final thoughts on the sports, man, I am incredibly happy, boy. My Cavs, they not about to be talking about the Cavs, the laughing stock. Are they going for the lottery? Listen, the Cavs made them eat their words last year. Oh, they only gonna win 19 games. Oh, they probably gonna have a top 3 pick. And at one point in time, we was the number 1, number 2 team in the East. We was a top 5 team in the league, and we didn't even do nothing but added to it. I am very cautious with free agency coming up because, like I say, even though we here now, things could happen. Free NBA free agency gets crazy. I mean, we remember the DeAndre Jordan fiasco, the Paul George fiasco, excuse me, and other things like that, LeBron decision. So, the NFL offseason was crazy. I don't expect the NBA offseason to be any less crazier, especially with all the possible movement going on. And, on the next space, we probably going to do, or the next cast, we probably do Browns. 9 times out of 10. Well, actually, probably going to do partial Browns because we're going to be right in the thick of the free agency period, or it might be the start of it. So, you know what we might do? Next Friday, I think, is when free agency start.
Plus, you got
We just
summer
gonna
league
go
coming
ahead.
up.
Yep, and we just gonna do it like that and just go live for the free agency. You know what I'm saying? So I welcome everybody to come through. You know what I'm saying, and come be a part of that experience. You know what I'm saying? And listen, if you need commercials done, somebody to speak, some promotion and stuff like that, man, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? As y'all see, man, I ain't shy about it. Plus, I do know something about this. So if you need that, commercials, things like that, things read, man, feel free to hit me up, bro. I had no problem promoting that stuff on my platforms and none of that. Connor, I see you.
So I want to get your opinion real quick before we close out. It's about LeBron. What was do you want him back here or not? Because there's either half of us, either we want to see the young guys thrive, and I think that's a little bit of a pride thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But then again, or do like you said, you want to let your home talent grow. Well, we want to see how those young guys grow and everything. Nothing wrong with that. Or if you bring in LeBron, say LeBron brings you a championship, would you rather have a championship or try to see if these young guys can do it and get some more pride with that?
Well, to the latter half of that statement, I think we can do it without LeBron anyway, especially for the way this team is being built, the continuity, how the front office and coaching staff has moved. Every year, we say every year Colin got better, and we didn't, talked about how certain players then got better. But this front office and this coaching staff has gotten better every year as well. Whether it's been changing in, assistant parts or, just figuring out how to move certain guys around. It ain't been the greatest elevation in the world, but I feel like it's definitely done improved. As far as LeBron coming back, I'll say this like I said at the beginning. If LeBron, I would love nothing more than to see LeBron break the all-time points record in a Cavs uniform. Just for how much of, they talk down on us and all that craziness. To have to put that up with him in a Cavs uniform would just be so nice for me. At the same token, though, if I got to trade for LeBron, I don't want him. If he gonna
I'm
come
with you
over
on
here,
that.
you know what I'm saying? If he gonna come over here as a free agent, you know what I'm saying, and he ain't gonna try to hurt the salary cap and do none of that, I think he would be a great 3 to play amongst these guys. I think he really would. But at the same token, though, I don't need the drama and all that other extra stuff. And I don't want to play with the young guys. I want to play with older guys, bro.
We
You
can't
got to
have
go
that.
somewhere else
Can't
to
have
do that.
that. Yeah,
You got
definitely
to go
can't have
somewhere.
that. It's gotta be. He gotta come here and he's gotta realize, this ain't his team. You know what I mean? He's gotta realize he's coming in here and he's trying to just bring another championship to Cleveland, not try to, recruit guys and all that because, like you said, they do have that core that they can win with. I do think that if they bring in LeBron, that does make them a better team. But like you said, I don't want to trade anyone. I don't want to trade no one. And depending on the money and everything, But most definitely, most definitely.
All right, chill. I see you want to get in here right quick before we end it out.
Yep. So my last point is LeBron has already dealt with Luke Walton before the first year when he went to LA. So do you think LeBron wants to deal with that again? I don't know. So I mean, only time will tell. We'll see. And great space we have here, man. So happy to be part of it.
Thank y'all all for coming. It's been a pleasure. As I say, this is DeeTrynt, Game Changer Sports Talk on InDaStreetzSportz. We streaming live from Twitter Spaces. Make sure you follow us on all social platforms: Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Definitely follow the podcast on Spotify and Anchor, Radio Public, Google Podcasts, and you're gonna find it on the InDaStreetzSportz channel. All right, under Game Changer Sports Talk. It's been a pleasure. Y'all stay safe, stay dangerous. All right. You know what I'm saying? And stay together, man. It's always go Browns, go Cavs, and go Guards. All right. One love.